Hi Leo, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your November 2020 tarot reading. Thanks to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. As far as personal readings go, I decided to take a break from those until sometime next year, so just wanted to put that out there. As far as what we have in front of us, we have a Celtic cross spread as always, and I also pulled some Oracle cards and a Mudra card for you guys. So we'll get started with the main spread. The main situation position, we have the Lovers. So this is the major arcana card for Gemini. Could just be pointing to some improvement in a relationship, possibly even a new one altogether. But really, more than anything, what I'm picking up on this could just be saying that you might actually need to rely on others this month in some way. I'm primarily saying that because of some of the surrounding cards I see. But we could also keep in mind the fact that the Lover is representing Gemini energy. For you guys, that's your 11th house of friendships. And then Gemini being the natural ruler of the third house, your third house is Libra. And, that points to communication. So, and obviously Libra energy being about balance. So this could just be saying if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed this month, don't hesitate to, try to rely on others this month to help pick up the slack for you guys in some way. In the challenger obstacle position, we have the Seven of Pentacles. So this is actually Taurus energy, which for you guys is your 10th house of career and social status. We're actually going to have a full moon in Taurus at the very end of October, right around Halloween. So for some of you, could be a change in your career around that time, and maybe that's part of why you could just feel a bit caught up in that, just really reflecting on that. I don't necessarily see it as a loss per se, but maybe just some kind of disappointment. Maybe you were expecting some news around a promotion or raise, for example. Maybe that's not coming through. Could be as simple as that. But with this coming up here, it could just be saying that you might just be putting so much energy into your careers as well that, you might not have much time for anything else. As far as, like I said, could be a romantic connection for some of you, or again, given that this is your 11th house energy, could just be your friendships as well. And if that's the case, I feel like that's probably more of a factor with you guys having that Saturn energy wrapping up its transit through your 6th house of work and daily routine. So if that's the case, you might feel that energy start to lift for you guys toward the end of, mid-December to late December, I would say. So that shouldn't last too much longer. In the foundation position, we have the Two of Swords. So this is actually Libra energy here, speaking of which. And I feel like this is saying more than anything, I feel like you're reluctant to communicate to people. So like I said, it does seem like you just might be feeling a bit overwhelmed this month in some area of life. But at the same time, it seems like you're not necessarily communicating that you feel that way. You could just really have it in your mind that you want to make the decision on your own, right? So you might not want others to provide their input or feedback to you. So that could be part of the reason. Technically we're just starting up that Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, and eventually it's going to move into Libra for a bit. So it could just be saying that you could be reevaluating some things around that time too. And also, given that the 4th house is a bit of a quiet energy, which is where it's going to start for you guys, that could have you feeling a bit more introspective as well. Could say that for some of you might have two choices with career as well, but I'm not necessarily feeling that as much. I feel like this is just, like I said, you guys are feeling overwhelmed in some area and just not feeling comfortable communicating it at this time for whatever reason. All right, in the past position, we have the Six of Cups. So this is actually Scorpio energy here, represents the middle 10 degrees. And really, that's where that retrograde is starting up to, 11 degrees of Scorpio. So, of course, this is, hey, maybe you reconnected with someone around that time. Of course, I'm recording this right around the time that retrograde starts, but for those of you who don't see this video until November, that might be a timeline that would stand out to you when you might have reconnected with someone. At the very least, this looks like the desire to reconnect with someone or possibly even something from your past. So, for example, maybe you're thinking about going back to an old career path, right? If you feel like you're stagnant where you're currently working, that's just a generic example of how that could play out. But yeah, it does look like you're reconnecting with something from the past or someone. Now, in the present position, we have the Five of Cups. So seeing the drop from the 6 down to the 5 could just be saying that maybe you do reconnect with a person, but it could be that maybe what might have separated the two of you in the past hasn't really been dealt with. So, for example, you guys might reunite, right? Everything seems fine on the surface, but for whatever reason, maybe you're not communicating to that person that whatever took place between the two of you in the past, you're not fully over it yet, or, you know, giving the impression that you are, but yet, and maybe even trying to really truly be like, you know what, I'll just get over it, I'll deal with it, I won't even say anything about it, right? I'll just ride it out. But you're having a little bit of difficulty with doing so, so that could be what it is. And I mean, I get it, because if you're like, all right, well, maybe I made a bigger deal out of it than it really was, right? So maybe I shouldn't even bother. But then if that's still festering for you underneath the surface, then eventually that's going to come to the surface anyway, and possibly in a more uncomfortable way too. So something to keep in mind there. All right, and then your future position, we have Temperance. So this is actually Sagittarius energy here. And what stands out to me with this, well, a couple things actually. So for one, we see that angel symbolism again, like we see with the Lover's card, but also the fact that with the Five of Cups, his focus is on those 3 cups. And what I always notice with this card is the neutrality of the gray background, right? So we see some blue backgrounds, some black backgrounds, depending on the card. But here there's that neutrality that always sticks out to me, which is to say there's the choice to either focus on those 3 cups or focus on the 2 that are still standing. And then if we look at the Temperance card, he actually has 2 cards. So this could just be saying that, even if there is some disappointment around the connection, I feel like there's something going on behind the scenes for you guys that's actually working on this connection. So, like I said, for some of you, maybe that was the reason why you're like, you know what, I'm just going to let this work itself out. So if that's the case, it looks like there could be something going on behind the scenes that actually does work this situation out for you to where you're able to move past it and move forward with it healed. So that's certainly a possibility. For some of you, it might take until we actually get into Sag season, which would be toward the very end of November. So that could be what this is pointing to as far as the timeline goes, too. But yeah, that's what's really standing out to me. Even in the very beginning here, I was getting this feeling that you might be feeling overwhelmed around some situation. And it could just be saying that you might have to just try to let go of the control around it to an extent and just let things fold unnaturally. And it looks like, just having a little bit of trust and faith, whether it be just in the universe in general, or like I said, actually relying on a friend or family member, reach out to them, let them know what you're going through. All right. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Five of Pentacles. So again, we see the Taurus energy. This is referred to a lot as the being left out in the cold card. The artwork kind of speaks for itself in that regard, but also I view this as like the in sickness and in health energy. It makes me think of that wedding vow that you hear a lot, where, because I mean technically the 2 people are still together, it just looks like they're going through a rough time together, right? So could be something with that. But for a lot of you, again, I feel like this is something around career for a lot of you, where there's some disappointment in your career. And like I said, that full moon is actually going to take place in these degrees of Taurus. So definitely watch out for that full moon right at the very end of October, the 31st. For those of you who do watch this before November, and for those of you who don't see it till November, if you, had a rough experience around that full moon, that could be what this is pointing to here. And I would say that this could just be a reminder too to try to avoid burnout, because like I said, that whole that whole Saturn moving through Capricorn, finally wrapping up its transit there, that being your 6th house, to me that could just say that, you might have really just been pushing yourselves, feeling the heaviness and energy, especially with the fact that Mars made a square aspect to it a couple of times, so could be what's going on with that too. But could just be saying to be mindful, try to give yourself a little bit of a break if you can, and try not to push forward too far, because it could lead to, for some of you, could actually manifest as a physical illness. I don't think it'd be anything major, but something that might knock you off your feet for a few days, so where you're forced to take some rest. All right, in the environment position, we have the Eight of Pentacles. So this is Virgo energy here, which for you guys is your second house of finances. And I view this as an entrepreneur type energy a lot of the times because, I mean, the guy's quite literally making his own money. So could just be saying that maybe that's what you guys are weighing, possibly going into business for yourselves if you feel like your career has just been leading to disappointments. Um, but again, I feel like this is saying that, if you really do need help with some situation, don't hesitate to, reach out to others because I feel like there will be someone who'll be willing to go to bat for you. And if this is a relationship, this could just be saying that maybe you just don't have much faith around the connection, even if you did reconcile with them. And like I said, if there's just something from the past that you haven't quite let go around the situation, it looks like this person is willing to put in the work. So, possibly some communication in that regard can help too to help you guys get back on track. Because, I mean, to me, this looks like a energy that would say, hey, whatever you let them know, hey, I need help with this, or I'm not quite over this, right? This does show that they would put in the honest effort to actually fix the situation. All right, in the hopes or fears position, we have two cards, and one of them does not want to get in my hand. There we go. We have the Queen of Swords, which is Libra energy, and the Page of Cups, which is technically not any particular water sign, but I do think of Pisces with it sometimes since we see the cup there, the fish in the cup rather, but it's just water energy in general. This could just be, again, since I see the Libra energy there, like I was saying, I was picking up on this energy that you guys are, really trying to make a decision on your own and not communicate what you're feeling. That could be exactly what it is, where you're hoping to present this front of, cool, calm, collected, but beneath the surface, the emotions could be a bit rocky for you there, and you could just be trying to hide those feelings for whatever reason. And of course, again, given that Libra is your house of communication, like I said, that retrograde is going to move into Libra eventually, and then it'll move back out. Mercury will move back out of Libra, I think after the first week of November. So, if you feel a little bit shaky around communications, maybe you could wait until, let's say, the second week of November, and that should help you out in that regard. All right, and in the outcome position, we have the Five of Wands. So, I mean, you guys have a lot of five energy here. You have the Five of Cups, Five of Pentacles, and now in the outcome, the Five of Wands, which is actually in Leo energy too. The only thing missing is the Five of Swords at this point, which is good because the less fives, the better. But to me, this is almost representing what I was saying. I feel like this is more pointing to a bit of a cautionary thing, which is to say that if there is something that's still bothering you, right, but you're trying to make it seem like everything's fine, it's going to eventually come out in a more negative way. And what came to my mind, especially since, like we said, that this retrograde is starting in your fourth house, it could even just be pointing to, let's say, if this is around family, right? Maybe you guys get into an argument during Thanksgiving dinner, for those of you in the States. Just a generic example, So, looks like it's just saying just have faith. Either, you really have to truly have faith that things will work themselves out and let them do so with that temperance energy there. Like I said, it looks like there is the potential for balance to be restored. Or just have faith that you can actually communicate to this person what you're feeling and, let them work it out with you, because it looks like just holding it in might manifest in energy like this, because especially if it looks like we see two cards here pointing to you feeling a bit that way anyway. But keep in mind, the temperance card being number 14, this also reduces to a 5. So to me, that's a lot of the times what the message is with the 5 energies, is to, you really have to just let go, know when to walk away, and let things resolve themselves. So, having faith in that regard. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, either way, I mean, that's not a huge energy. Like, even if it does manifest itself in an argument, for example, seeing the temperance in the near future position as well, to me, says that you guys can get back on track anyway. But if you'd rather avoid that, could just be saying try to communicate what you're feeling. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Wands. So Looks like there's that energy for a fresh start there, but what I always point out with the aces is it's an opportunity, right? You might get an idea to do something, but it's still going to require action on your part. So something to keep in mind with that. And the good thing is beneath this, we actually have the Three of Cups. So, if there is some kind of, like I said, issue you need to resolve with someone, seeing that energy under there is a pretty good sign too. So, something to keep in mind. All right, moving on to the Oracle cards now. We have two that came up from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. The first one you guys got is a change in the wind. There's the artwork, and the number is 12. All right, let's see. All right, it says a sense that unseen change has been initiated, preparation for a storm, awareness that your plans are not on firm ground, feeling a shift, uncertainty about which direction the winds will blow. The Oracle's message: it's human nature to yearn for certainty and resist change, to want the world to remain consistent like a zebra's stripes. Yet nothing in human experience is black and white, nor will anything remain static. The one thing guaranteed is change. Now is a time of transformation, as outer conditions are temporarily moving out of sync with your desires and expectations. Stay the course and remember that even storms serve to clear the air, scatter seeds, and nourish the soil for better things ahead. Life is about to get interesting. Anticipate it with curiosity as you wonder what is coming in on the shifting winds. The unknown is where the magic lies. So interesting message there as far as he mentions the storm clearing the air. So, like I said, for some of you, that could be pointing to what I was saying with that Five of Wands, that even if you do bottle it up for a while and it does come out in a slightly more unhealthy way, looks like that can help restore balance in a roundabout way, where, like I said, that's where you have to have a little bit of faith of things behind the scenes working out in your favor. The relationship message says relationships go through periods where partners seem out of sync with each other, and stormy emotions and moods threaten to take down the ship. Perhaps someone has a change of heart and leaves. These rough seas offer opportunities for mutual growth, a way for you to understand your own heart better, and to know what you need to truly be happy. Rest assured that whatever is happening now, good will come of it. Take temporary shelter and remove yourself from drama. The air will clear and everything will be fresh and new again. This too shall pass. So an interesting message there as far as it says, take temporary shelter and remove yourself from drama. That could be, again, what I was saying, where possibly avoiding that type of energy where you just have to have faith in things to actually correct themselves to a certain extent. Or, like I said, for some of you, can just be having the trust and faith to tell the person what's on your mind and actually work things out that way. So either way, hopefully that resonated with you guys. And then the prosperity message says, as you endeavor to create a prosperous life, you may encounter unexpected reversals that cause you to shift directions. This is a good thing, so there is nothing to fear. Perhaps an opportunity you sought went to someone else. Perhaps you pursued something that you suddenly realize is not in your highest good. You might not be 100% clear on where you need to go, but you are certain that things are not going as planned. Circumstances are not in your control right now. Wait it out. All be well, even better, actually. Trust. So yeah, reading that, it made me think back to what I was saying, that for some of you could have been some disappointment around your career. Like I was saying, I didn't necessarily feel it would be a job loss, but like I said, maybe just not getting a raise you were hoping for or promotion. So that could be what that's pointing to there. And again, it looked like the overall message there was to have faith in that situation as well. Might be easier said than done, I understand, but I was feeling that energy as well. So, all right, next we have the Fates. There's the artwork, and the number is 17. So this might actually have some similar messages in it if I remember correctly, but we'll see. Okay, it says fate, karma, acceptance that there are things you cannot change, and knowing what those things are. The Serenity Prayer sums up the meaning of this card. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There are things in life you will never have control over. The conditions brought on by the evolution of the collective, by nature, and by your past experiences may be fated, preordained by spirit for a greater purpose you cannot understand in this lifetime. It may not be in your cards to understand why certain events occurred, but you can accept the mystery and work with what those events and current circumstances have to teach you. This is the wisdom contained in the Serenity Prayer. So yeah, like I said, again, the more I'm reading these things, it's making me think that for a lot of you, just keep an eye, like I said, especially those of you watching this before we get to November, keep an eye around the energies that you see take place when we have that full moon at the very end of October. Could be some significant shift around the energy around that time. All right, the relationship message says other people are who they are. You can't change them. The challenge is to accept them as they are and not try to make them otherwise to suit you. This is a time to look at how you attempt to mold people to fit your view of how they should be so you can remain in a relationship and avoid discomfort. What if who they are and whatever is happening between you and them in this situation is perfect from the perspective of spirit? Now is the time to accept what you cannot change, even if it means that you honor yourself, spirit, and the other person by moving on. Love unconditionally, for each of us is on our own journey, and we cannot direct that of another. Be aware that this relationship is indeed fated, and you are meant to evolve into a better version of yourself as a result of it. So, an interesting message, and what came to my mind as I was reading that is, could even just be saying that, like I said, for some of you, it could be that you guys are really wrapped up around career stuff, but seeing that this card is in the environment, if this is around a personal relationship for you guys, it could also be that, where they might be the ones who are really putting a lot of energy into their work and career, and you might just feel like, a bit neglected in the process of that. So if that's the case, it looks like that could be something more temporary as well. And like I said, it does seem like if you do communicate this to this person, it would go over well, but that just came to my mind, so hopefully that resonated with you. And then the prosperity message says your experiences concerning prosperity and abundance are beyond your control right now. You are being invited to accept what is unreservedly. This could be a temporary situation, seemingly thrust upon you by outside forces, but there is an underlying purpose you can't see that has been determined by the fates. It could be a situation you are unprepared for, and you may not understand how it will benefit you in the moment. Do not fight the situation. Ride it out and see where it leads. Surrender to it, and the serenity you need to make good choices from here on out will be given to you. You will indeed flourish. So, interesting message there too, and I keep getting that vibe, and then we saw in a couple of these cards where it was just saying, try to have a little faith and try to ride out these situations, which gives me the impression that they're not going to really be long term. They might not be comfortable energies, but I don't think they're going to be around for a long time. And seeing this temperance energy in the near future, again, like I said, makes me think to, even if, let's say, the first few weeks in November could be a bit bumpy, maybe when, again, I feel like this is saying by Sagittarius season, given that that's the card representing Sagittarius, things should start to improve for you guys by then, at the very least. So that's what just popped in my mind there. And then next we have Vulture Spirit. It says, nothing is wasted. There's the artwork, and the number is 63. Okay, it says, what seems hideous has its own beauty, and the recycling and repurposing the vulture does is as important as any other activity in nature that supports the life cycle. Vulture Spirit's message is that nothing is to be wasted, for nature sees value in everything that exists. What seems rotten and ugly has the potential to be transmuted into something beneficial, and you are reminded that any suffering you have experienced has not gone to waste. Wisdom and understanding that arose from the experience are talismans that will serve you on your journey wherever you go. What is decaying is only changing form and will fertilize seeds you wish to plant, turning that which has passed away into the substance that will support new growth. All that you might wish to deny or discard has value and can be repurposed and reintegrated into the new you that you are becoming and the new life that you are dreaming into being. No pain is in vain, and no experience was wasted, for you have the power to use it to co-create something far better. This is the miracle in your partnership with Spirit. So pretty positive message there too, as far as it's saying, like I said, yeah, even if you do go through some bumpy energies this month, I keep getting that theme that faith in the situation improving is going to be key for you guys this month. So hopefully that resonated. And finally, we have the Mudra card. So the Mudra you guys got for this month is the Hamsi Mudra. There it is there. And the keyword for it is illumination. Okay, let me get it to focus. There we go. So under benefits, it says removes obstacles in one's life, eases depression and sadness, evokes feelings of lightness and laughter, benefits the lungs and large intestine, improves assimilation of nutrients and elimination of waste. So, I mean, overall, that sounds like it could be beneficial for you guys. So if you feel like you would want to try that, I will put the name of the Mudra in the description video as always. We'll wrap up there and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.